I'll shut the platform down before I ever add a payment. I want to prioritize topics that are really practical, maybe emerging topics that it's hard to find training on. So, an example, one of the courses I've released more recently, which I learned a lot from these just on the development side too, was on incel culture, which I've seen kind of bubble up in a lot of therapist message boards and things like that, issues surrounding that. You can get a lot of information on that topic. Can you get it through a therapeutic lens that's helpful in figuring out how does this actually apply if I have a person sitting in front of me who identifies with this community? I could never find that.
This episode is sponsored by TherapyNotes, therapynotes.com. Be sure and check them out, and be sure and use the promo code Gordon, Gordon, and you can try them out for 2 months for free. For the past 20 plus years, I've been working in the mental health field as a licensed therapist, private practice owner, coach, and consultant. And I've learned a lot the hard way, and I don't think you need to do the same. Hi there, I'm Gordon Brewer, and welcome to the Practice of Therapy podcast, part of the Psychcraft network of podcasts. Whether you're just starting out, expanding your practice, or looking for fresh inspiration, this podcast is here to support you in your journey. Each week, we explore the real-world challenges and opportunities that come with building and growing your private practice. From marketing and money management to ethics, client care, and self-care, we cover it all. You'll hear from leading experts, seasoned clinicians, and innovative voices in the mental health and allied health fields, all sharing their insights and strategies to help you thrive in your practice. So let's jump in and get to today's episode of the Practice of Therapy podcast. Friends, this is episode number 417 of the Practice of Therapy podcast. I'm Gordon Brewer, and so glad you've joined me for this particular episode. Looking forward to you hearing from my guest, Tobin Richardson. And Tobin has developed a platform that I think you're going to be excited about. It's called Save the Therapist, and it's a free platform in which you can get CEs by listening to podcasts. And so I thought that was pretty cool, and I was really glad for him to come on and talk about how he developed this and how all of this works. It's NBCC approved continuing education provider, and also there are the Association of Social Work Boards have approved a lot of what they do as well. And so I'm looking forward to you hearing about the story around how he developed this and his passion for providing continuing education for all of us in the mental health field. But before we get to that, one of the things I'd love to do is invite you to go over to the website, practiceoftherapy.com. And number one, just take a look around at all the different resources that are there. It's hard to believe I've been doing this since 2016. And so there is a lot of content on the website. In particular, just all the other episodes of different podcasts over the years. I mean, here we are up to 417, which is just pretty amazing to me. It's hard to believe how fast time has gone by in my mind. But anyway, be sure to check it out. And also, if you're interested in doing some consulting with me, I'd love to have a conversation with you about that. And you'll find at the top of the page, when you go to the website, there's a link there for coaching and consulting. And so be sure and click on that, and you can find out a little more about that process. But really the way to start is just to book a free 15-minute brainstorming session with me, and we can talk about whether or not this might be a good fit for you. So be sure to go and check it out. And yeah, I'd love to hear from you. And also, before we get to my conversation with Tobin, I'd love for you to hear from one of the members of the Sightcraft Network, along with some words from our sponsor of the podcast, TherapyNotes.
Hey there, Daniel Fava here, and if you don't know me, I'm the host of the Private Practice Elevation podcast, where I share online marketing strategies and interviews to help private practice owners attract more clients and scale their businesses. The Private Practice Elevation podcast is part of the Sightcraft network of podcasts, and I'm super excited to be a part of this network alongside Gordon and the great work he's doing. If you haven't discovered the Private Practice Elevation podcast yet, you can find it wherever you listen to your podcasts. I'd love for you to join me as we explore topics like building an effective website for your private practice, search engine optimization, content marketing, and copywriting, as well as my conversations with experienced private practice owners about scaling a practice, outsourcing, team leadership, and all things that will help you elevate your business and create the life you love. Be sure to check us out at privatepracticeelevation.com for resources and content to help you in your online marketing journey.
Hi, this is Rachel, Gordon's podcast assistant, and I want to share the platform Gordon trusts for his own practice, TherapyNotes. TherapyNotes is the highest rated EHR, practice management, and billing software for mental health professionals. It's an all-in-one system for scheduling, notes, billing, and secure client communication. And if you ever need help, their 24/7 customer service is always just a call or email away. Their latest update, Therapy Fuel, uses AI to streamline documentation, generating progress notes, creating contact notes from client messages, and even summarizing client history forms, saving therapists hours every week. Are you ready to give it a try? Head to therapynotes.com, click Start My Free Trial, and use the code Gordon to get your first 2 months free. See why TherapyNotes is the most trusted EHR and the one Gordon chooses for his practice. Please enjoy the rest of the show.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome again to the podcast. And I'm really excited for you to get to know today Tobin Richardson. And Tobin has started a platform called Save the Therapist. And so you're going to learn a whole lot about that. So welcome, Tobin. Glad you're here.
Thank you so much. I'm really glad to be here.
Yeah, and when I started learning about his platform, I think it's going to be something you're going to really enjoy hearing about, because it has to do with helping people get their CEs in a way that's user-friendly and very, very cost-effective, because it doesn't cost anything. But Tobin, as I start with everyone, why don't you tell folks a little more about yourself and how you've landed where you landed?
Yeah, for sure. So also a therapist. My background has been always, for the vast majority of my career, in counselor education. So I've worked at a couple different organizations, kind of leading in-house educational initiatives. And through those roles, I came to believe a couple things really strongly. And one was that undoubtedly is some pockets of great CE stuff out there. There's some really amazing in-person stuff. There's, I think, a lot of opportunity to grow in online CE platforms. So that was something I've learned and tested and been able to try to address through those roles. And then the second thing I really wanted to do is to be able to provide stuff that people don't have to pay a subscription fee for. Especially post-COVID, a lot of licensure boards have gotten much more lenient about allowing more stuff to be done online. And so, yeah, I've spent the last few years really kind of trying to ask myself, can I help solve this problem? And about 2 years ago, I thought, I'm going to try. I have this idea for something that I think would be work towards a solution. And that's where Save the Therapist came from.
Well, that's great. That's great. Yeah, I love hearing from people that just kind of develop a passion for what they're doing. And this sounds like that's something that has really been true for you. Yet tell us more about the platform and how it works and and all of that sort of thing.
For sure. So again, two kind of really unique things about the platform. The first part of it is that I have always been a huge fan of produced podcasting stuff. I always tell the story of back in 2019, I love this really popular podcast called This American Life. It's like an NPR style podcast.
Yeah.
They did an episode on cognitive processing therapy, which was designed for anyone. That's the audience is not therapists necessarily for that podcast. But it was this story this journalist did of going through cognitive processing therapy and recorded the sessions and, cut to the therapist kind of talking about why she was doing some of the different techniques she was doing. And it was so educational. Like I just will never forget listening to that and thinking that is one of the best educational experiences I've had in an hour. I feel like I could do CPT to Fidelity like that this quick. I would be really excited to use it. So I started tinkering with making stuff in that format. And luckily I was like in roles in counselor ed where I could test it, with large populations of therapists. Got really great feedback, even in some of my early stuff that I listen back to now and I'm like not particularly proud of.
Don't we all that do podcasts? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And so I wanted to build stuff in that format. The other part of what I thought I could do is I knew that I could basically do this all myself. Like I had the right mixture of experiences and interests that I didn't need a team. Like I knew that I could kind of just build this out. I knew how to go through the process. The biggest gatekeeper in the whole process is it's really hard to get the right accreditations, but I had done this for a couple organizations I worked at. So just started slowly building out a platform. Always my goal was, because the thing people always get really caught up on is like, what do you mean free? Like, what's the catch? How does this operate? There's so many scams we're all exposed to now. So I think people's just radar goes up when you say something's free. So the way I had always hoped to operate, and it looks like this is going to work out, is just as a nonprofit organization where any money that came into the organization the purpose would be to fulfill the mission, like keeping these free. And I thought I could probably get enough therapists on there that I'd be able to fund it through things like sponsorships. A lot of people are trying to reach therapists. And so that's the hope. I still haven't actually landed a sponsorship to fund the platform, but I'm getting close. So I'm getting closer to thinking, okay, this can be sustainable through this format.
Sure.
I always tell people I'm never gonna. I honestly, I'll shut the platform down before I ever add a payment. That's just incredibly important to me. Is that that it remains totally 100% free, and I think I can work still.
Yeah, sure.
No strings attached. That's kind of just the way it works.
Right. Well, I love that concept, and and I'm sure you've thought about this. One of the platforms that I think came to mind for me was like Wikipedia. I mean, they're at least I think I might be wrong now, but at least for a long time they operated on just the fact that people were willing to contribute to that and make donations to keep it going. So I think you're right. I think this platform is going to be of value to a lot of people. And I know most of us are used to paying for CEs and would be willing to contribute.
Yeah, I hope so. I think you're right. The courses are all very introductory level. So I love that you brought up Wikipedia, because I do think there's some parallels in the sense that I think one of the reasons Wikipedia works so well is it's just so easy to get the information that you want quickly. I think that's a huge deal. Most of my career has been in community mental health, and I just am incredibly aware of all of the cognitive load that's always placed on therapists from so many directions. Even if you're desperately want to learn about a topic, how do you fit that into your normal day?
Right.
I mean, it's extremely difficult for a lot of therapists. So it's another reason the podcast format was important to me. I really wanted it to be a platform where if you're commuting to work that day and you're thinking, I have this client on my caseload, I feel stuck with them, I need a resource like quickly to kind of learn about this topic or an evidence-based practice, you can do it in that format, So
Right.
I hope that's the way people are utilizing the resources.
Yeah.
I think the CE part is huge, but I know some of my listeners don't even want or need the CEs. They just need a resource to be able to go in and quickly get the information they need.
Right. Well, one thing that occurred to me, and you're talking about your story about This American Life, which I love that podcast as well. It's been one I've listened to for years. But, I think for a lot of us, particularly those of us that have maybe been in practice for a while, we have a knowledge base already. And the different theories around therapy, there are a lot of similarities and a lot of overlap, as we always know. And I think what I heard from you is that you were given a concept there and you thought, okay, I get this, I can do this kind of thing. And I think that's true for most all of us. I mean, I think, if you've been doing it a while or, I think people maybe have a little bit of imposter syndrome because of the way that we've kind of instituted, like certifications and that kind of thing. And people get very territorial around those different methods and that kind of thing. But I think if you understand a concept, and like you said, in these short snippets, when I say short, you're offering 1 hour CEs. So, I mean, that's great. That's great. I love that.
Yes, for sure. I always think my hope is it's a good resource to see if you want, because there might be a thing or two per year that you can really dig into, an advanced training on. Can't do that. You can't do that with every topic. So
right.
Yeah, sometimes you just need to know the basics and need to know if it's something you're interested in investing more time in learning about.
Right. So tell us a little more about the different topics that you're covering and some of the episodes there.
Yeah, for sure. So I really try to drive course topics by user feedback, suggestions. I've found I want to prioritize topics that are really practical, maybe emerging topics that it's hard to find training on. So an example, one of the courses I've released more recently, which, I mean, I learned a lot from these just on the development side too, was on incel culture, which I've seen kind of bubble up in a lot of therapist message boards and things like that. Issues surrounding that. You can get a lot of information on that topic. Can you get it through a therapeutic lens that's helpful in figuring out how does this actually apply if I have a person sitting in front of me who identifies with this community? Like I could never find that.
Yeah.
So I first try to kind of identify those topics, and then I try to, something you have to do to offer CE credit is be able to find the right content experts who are really willing to dig into that topic in a conversation. And sometimes you can, and sometimes that's more difficult.
Right.
But for that topic, like I found perfect person who is an international expert actually on that topic, and had sort of focused his practice on that community, who could really talk about in very practical way. This is what could be going on here. These are the things you need to think about. These are the times you need to refer these cases out, because that topic especially, it's not one that's, everybody is going to feel comfortable working with. And so, yeah, that's an example of a type of topic I've done and hope to kind of always kind of hope to guide the topics we.
Right. Yeah.
Hey guys, have you heard of Goldbelly? It's this amazing site where they ship the most iconic, famous foods from restaurants across the country, anywhere nationwide. I've never found a more perfect gift than food. Goldbelly ships Chicago deep dish pizza, New York bagels, Maine lobster rolls, and even Ina Garden's famous cakes. So, if you're looking for a gift for the food lover in your life, head to goldbelly.com and get 20% off your first order with promo code GIFT. That's goldbelly.com, promo code GIFT.
Kara here from The Kara Golden Show. If you're not using Ironclad for contracts, you could be leaving millions on the table. Ironclad's AI instantly surfaces what matters: renewal dates, pricing terms, and obligations, so you can act quickly before opportunities slip away. That's why they're trusted by great brands like OpenAI, L'Oreal, Salesforce, and so many others. Find the savings hiding in your contracts at ironcladapp.com/podcast. That's ironcladapp.com/podcast.
Yeah, I love that because, I think there are so many times for those of us doing therapy, we get stuff handed to us and we think, oh, wow, what's this? And so you, again, having the platform to be able to gain that knowledge in the short snippets. The other thing that I love about the way you're doing this is the fact that, as we have all experienced, and I think especially since COVID, it's real easy to get really weary of spending a lot of time on a screen or watching a course or listening to a course that is, 8 hours long or whatever. And, I signed up for a course the other day that it's going to be like 42 hours of content. And so, I'm just thinking, okay, how am I going to work that in, to be able to do that? I could probably travel somewhere and do those in-person things, which I think are fun, like you said earlier, but I love the way that it's kind of in short snippets and that sort of thing.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's so actually the way the course format operates is that every course, every topic has a 30-minute podcast and then a takeaway packet that equal together for one credit hour of CE stuff. So every once, with a lot of topics, there are visuals that are really helpful. And I think it also helps if you can print off the packet or whatever, if you would, or save it on your desktop. But I totally agree. I mean, I've just heard over and over again from so many therapists, like, I can't stare at a computer screen for another hour. I'm doing that. I'm doing today. So I always say, I would suggest listen to a podcast on a walk or a commute or while you're doing laundry. It's just, you can multitask in so many ways.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. And that's really, quite honestly, is about, I would say, probably 95% of the content I consume now is done in that way. Whether I'm either at the gym listening to something or driving somewhere, and that's how I consume stuff. Even if I want to read a quote unquote, I'm using air quotes, read a book for fun, I listen to it on an audio book. Yeah.
Same. Yep. It's so much more efficient. Right.
Yeah. Well, Tobin, kind of walk us through, I know with CEs, there are like quizzes you need to take and all of that sort of thing. So kind of walk us through your process and how people can sign up or start looking and that kind of thing.
For sure. Yeah. So you can check out all the website and the courses and all the details on it just at the website, savethetherapist.com. If you to take a CE course, you have to actually log into the platform. So even though all the podcasts are on Spotify and Apple Music, and you can listen to them in 2 seconds with just searching on those platforms, there's no way around. If you issue a CE credit, you have to get somebody to sign in. You have to, as the provider, I have to collect the data, and you do have to pass a post test and do an evaluation and all that stuff. Everything on the platform has been designed with the idea of this needs to be as easy and as user-friendly as possible. So I think we have done a good job of that. To getting through kind of the course is, I think, very user-friendly. But yeah, you do have to kind of jump through some of those that are required for an accreditor. And then once you pass the post test for a course, you get the certificate of completion emailed to you, and it's also like within the portal. So you have them, regardless of how you need them kind of for your specific renewal. And we have NBCC and Association of Social Work Boards provider approval, which most, CE process is so complicated because it's literally hundreds of different licensure boards.
Right.
Trying to, decide if they want to take your credit or not. So it's really hard for me as a provider. I never guarantee, account, but it's something between like 80, really probably closer to 90% of therapist licensure boards will accept credit that's approved provider by one of those organizations. So
right. Yeah.
We're always working on trying to make it more, like there are pockets of people who wouldn't be able to use as CE credit right now. And hopefully that's a 2026 goal. Like we got to figure out how to get the right approvals for those people. But hopefully most people could use them.
Right. One question I have is that if someone signs up and they want to listen to one of the podcasts, is there an app, or can they listen to the podcasts on any podcast platform, or how does that work?
Yep. So any podcast platform, so Spotify and Apple Music, which I think are two major ones. So if you just search Save a Therapist, you'll see the whole course library of podcasts there. Go in and choose one, that sounds most interesting. And then if you need to, after that, go log into the platform and get the CE credit, you can. But, you could just listen to it, within 5 seconds. So that way too.
Right. Wow. That's great. That's great. And I'm hoping that people will take advantage of this. I know I am, probably as soon as I get off of this interview, and I'm certainly going to share it with my staff at my practice, because I think they'll be excited about that as well. But Tobin, I guess we need to be mindful of our time and that sort of thing. But what are some closing thoughts you have about all of this?
Oh man, I would say another interesting thing when you're a CE provider is you get so much therapist feedback, because everybody who gets a CE has to submit an evaluation. It's something I already believed, but this has made me believe more. Like therapists are doing incredible work. They're so motivated to learn about things that are going to impact their caseload, in a positive way. So it's just given me a lot of energy, to feel like there's a way I can give back to a community of people who are just so like motivated to be with their clients and work through some very difficult things. So,
right.
It's a great community to be a part of.
Yeah, it is. And ditto to all of that. I know I say to folks all the time, I'm big, as we were chatting about before we started recording, I'm really big on self-care, and people do hand us a lot of heavy things. And so I think part of self-care is being able to give yourself the knowledge to feel competent about what you're doing with people, and feeling not so much competent, but confident, because I think everybody is competent in their own way. But so totally agree. So folks, go to, again, it's savethetherapist.com and take a look at it. And of course, we'll have links here in the show notes and the show summary and that sort of thing. And also, I'm going to have to look up that episode from This American Life that you were talking about now.
Yeah, you should. It's still very good. It's called 10 Sessions.
Okay. All right. Well, and we'll probably put a link to that in the show notes and show summary as well, because that's a cool thing. So, well, Tobin, thanks for being on the podcast, and hopefully we'll be back in touch. You'll be back in touch with us, and we can have you on again to talk some more about what you're learning through this process. Brilliant idea, and thanks for putting it out there.
That would be amazing. Thank you so much.
Well, again, a big thanks to Tobin for joining me on the podcast and sharing his platform, Save the Therapist. I've already taken a look at the library of courses, and there's a lot of great, interesting courses, and I know I'm going to get started with it here soon, especially while I'm traveling some. I think I love to listen to podcasts, and so why not get some CEs while I'm doing it? So that's I think a great use of our time and that sort of thing. But be sure and check it out. And also, as I mentioned at the beginning, if you're interested in doing some consulting with me, I'd love to hear from you. And if you'll go to practiceoftherapy.com/nothing, just go to practiceoftherapy.com and click on the link there that says coaching and consulting, and we can begin that process and just start by having a free brainstorming session. And also, big thanks to TherapyNotes for being a sponsor of the podcast. They are a leading electronic health record system for mental health providers. They're who I use in my practice and absolutely love that platform. I know all of my staff just really enjoys using it, and it's really the hub for my whole practice. So be sure and check it out, practiceoftherapy.com/therapynotes. And if you'll use the promo code, just Gordon, Gordon, you can try them out for 2 months for free. So take care, folks. Thanks again for joining me for this particular episode. And as I like to say, always do love for you to subscribe to the podcast or follow the podcast wherever you might be listening to it. And leave us a review too. I love hearing the feedback, and also it just helps boost our ratings and in terms of helping other people find the podcast. So take care, folks, and we'll be back with you next week for another episode of the Practice of Therapy podcast. You have been listening to the Practice of Therapy podcast with Gordon Brewer, part of the PsychCraft network of podcasts. Please visit us at practiceoftherapy.com for more information, resources, and tools to help you in starting, building, and growing your private practice. And if you haven't done so already, please sign up to receive the free Private Practice Startup Guide at practiceoftherapy.com. And to find more great podcasts like this one, please visit the PsychCraft network at psychcraftnetwork.com. The information in this podcast is intended to be accurate and authoritative concerning the subject matter covered. It is given with the understanding that neither the hosts, guests, or producers are rendering legal, accounting, or clinical advice. And if you need help in these areas, be sure to find the right professional to help you with these things.
When it's time to scale your business, it's time for Shopify. Get everything you need to grow the way you want. Like, all the way. Stack more sales with the best converting checkout on the planet. Track your cha-chings from every channel, right in one spot. And turn real-time reporting into big-time opportunities. Take your business to a whole new level. Switch to Shopify. Start your free trial today